Welcome to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show, where we discuss all things political, bringing you the top stories locally, nationally, and from around the world. I'm Ruben Abati, and Thisdaylive begins now. I'd like to welcome today's panelists, Wale Gomez, Public Affairs Analyst, Professor Bola Akintenrewa, Director General, Bolitag Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and Professor Victor Ariole, Professor of French and Francophone Studies at the University of Lagos. Gentlemen, you are welcome to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show. It's good to see you again, and you particularly, Wale Gomez. Welcome back from the United States.
Down yonder.
Well, which other country do you have a passport to? Is it UK or US? Because I know you are one leg here, one leg there.
The moon.
Anyway, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
Let's start here in Nigeria, where the Supreme Court has voided the election of Iheodioha as the governor of Imo State in southeast Nigeria. The 7-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Tanko Muhammad, unanimously declared Hope Uzodinma as the winner of the March 9, 2019 governorship election and the validly elected governor of the state. The Chief Judge of Imo State, Justice Pascal Nadi, administered the oath of office on the governor-elect at a ceremony attended by the APC National Chairman, Adams Oshiomhole, and the former governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okrocha, at the Hero Square Arena in Owerri, the state capital. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, issued a certificate of return to Senator Uzodinma in compliance with the Supreme Court ruling. Well, I mean, we all know the details of what has transpired in Imo State, and the big story is about the reaction of the public to how the Supreme Court arrived at its ruling. All 7-man panel deciding that it should be Hope Uzodinma. Hope Uzodinma was number 4 on the list. He had just a little over 96,000 to Iheodioha's over 290,000 votes. And then the Supreme Court decided, in its wisdom, that the 388 polling units that Uzodinma brought before the Supreme Court as, results invalidly excluded belonged to him. And the Supreme Court, in its own wisdom, did its own arithmetic and decided that number 4, had more votes than number 1. Not even more than number 3, not even more than number 2. And this has raised a lot of questions about, 1, the wisdom of the Supreme Court, and 2, about the role of INEC, and 3, about the entire democratic process in Imo State, and whether or not the people of Imo State, with the situation in which they have found themselves, now believe whether or not justice has been done. Beyond all of that, the newly sworn-in governor, Hope Uzodinma, has declared that he wants to ensure rehabilitation, recovery, and reconstruction and recovery. And he has embarked on a probe of the 3 previous administrations before him. People have also raised questions whether that is the ideal thing. Beyond that, people have also said, look, there's something shady about this. Hope Uzodinma has big issues about contracts that he did not execute. Is this a way of protecting him by the state? And then, of course, all of that, confrontation between the ruling APC party and the People's Democratic Party. Wale Gomez, you've been away for a while. You've been in the United States. Now you have returned to meet this special situation in Imo State. I would like to have you comment on this first.
Well, I don't understand why you picked me first, but it's all right. In your wisdom, you have done that. but I want to say, when I read the whole thing, I found it unbelievable that someone that came fourth could be the winner. But, you know, if you have created a system where the Supreme Court is supreme in judgment, and the Supreme Court's decision is the final decision, I personally don't know how they got into these calculations, because they might have used some form of logarithms to work it out. Because I feel that a person that came fourth and the candidate that came first, not bearing in mind that the other players within the system too had some votes for them, which were not even taken into consideration. But be it may as it may be, the Supreme Court have made their decision, and there's no one that can challenge that. So I think we just let it rest and let it run its course and let it go over with its governance. That's my own personal opinion.
Well, Professor Ariole, some people have expressed the view that it looks like the Supreme Court arrived at this decision par incuriam, that is in error, and that it's only the Supreme Court that can reverse itself, as established in Johnson's case of 1971. And is there a possibility that, given the fears that have been expressed, that the Supreme Court can still reverse itself in this matter?
Of course, it's possible, because exceptionality exists in all issues in life. And as we see, it is like overvoting. And overvoting, before even voting or counting votes, the moment you discover overvoting, it becomes illegal. It's no more tenable. It's either you cancel the whole vote and the whole thing starts afresh. So with Imo State on, we know something wrong has happened by calculation, which arithmetic, which is the simplest means of even counting. We are not even talking mathematics here now. We would have gone to algebra and other things. But this is simple 1 + 1 is 2, which has been messed up, you know? Because if you can't do that simple calculation, I mean, there is a problem. And somebody has to really intervene and prove to the Supreme Court that there is need to revisit it. And you can't multiply by 3, 96,000 votes, and land into the moon with 300,000 votes. Just like that, when people have been struggling to get to the moon for many, many years, and within some stroke of pen, you land into 300,000 votes. I mean, discounting votes of other people. Even within the 380-something polling booth that is expected to be counted, doesn't mean other participants, that's other political parties, don't have any votes to be counted in those polling booths. Something is wrong, and it is high time we started getting Supreme Court to really revisit its case and stop this shenanigan that is happening in Imo State. Uzodimma, fourth person, becoming the governor, leaving the 1, 2, 3 out of the whole of we know that before ever then, APC in Imo State has been in disarray. Mosu ought to be their candidate, but he wasn't the candidate. It turns out to be Uzodimma. And now they are regrouping again to fight what ought to make Imo people move forward.
But the argument of some people, sorry if I come in here, is that the other two did not pray for any, did not ask for any relief.
No, I'm not even asking them to be governor, because I know them. They are part of Uzodimma's...
They didn't ask for any relief, so they can't be given any I mean, position on this.
No, what I'm saying, behind it now...
Nchewosu went to court.
Okay, but
the court determined,
yes.
The court determined that he was the candidate of 2 political parties, the AA and the PDP, and that on that basis, the law does not allow you to be candidate of two political parties.
Technicalities.
And so his candidacy was voided by the Supreme Court.
Okay.
But if that is the case, the logical question that some others have asked is that does that then automatically make Uzodimma a candidate of the APC?
You see?
Since he was technically, since Uche Nwosu had been technically declared as the candidate of the APC.
Okay.
And there is a rumor on the third position.
Yes, but Professor Akintere, I would like to have your take on this. it looks like we have not seen the end of the drama.
Of course,
in Imo
it's
State.
a very, very dicey issue, and the drama must end very fast.
The first point is that the supremeness of the Supreme Court is at the level of the structure, legal structure. It is the apex court. So it's at the crescendo. That's how to understand the factor of supremeness. But it doesn't mean that the justices in that particular Supreme Court necessarily have more sagacious minds, intellectual minds.
Yeah, that point had been determined by Justice Okuta, JSC, as it then was. He said the Supreme Court is infallible, not because it's final, but it is infallible because it is final.
Now,
That's a difficult thing to say.
The argument is tenable, but the mere fact that we accept that the Supreme Court can reverse itself clearly suggests that it can make mistakes.
Exactly.
So it's so clear. Now, the second point is this. I found some factors quite interesting, and you did mention part of it. Hope Uzodimma had been accused of some improprieties. He had cases in court. He's been under court prosecution. EFCC is running after him. 4.3 billion, 12 million US dollars. His company giving contracts not executed. And now, one reason or the other, he's declared winner. And suddenly, he's now granted immunity. And you no longer want to talk about his crimes. This is very funny. And I think that there are some more fundamental issues we should begin to address. A third point you also raised is the role of the INEC. Now, for God's sake, according to the Supreme Court, 388 polling stations had votes that were not counted, reckoned with, at the final stage of computing. I will take my distance from Professor Ariole earlier on, where he said 1 + 1 will amount to 2. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
In modern mathematics
Yes.
now, if you look at binary system, it's a
Integral system.
So this
That's
time,
mathematics now. I'm talking of arithmetic.
even
Yes.
all right, I think we talk about
Arithmetic, not mathematics. That's what I'm saying.
arithmetic belongs to the old
Well, Prof,
system.
we need to take a short commercial break. Professor General, let's take a short commercial break. When we return, we'll come back to you, and then you can conclude your thoughts on that particular matter. This is still the Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We'll take a short break now. Welcome back to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show, here on the Arise News channel. Still with me, I have in the studio Wale Gomez, Public Affairs Analyst, Professor Bola Akintenewa, Director General, Bolitagin Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and Professor Victor Ariole, Professor of French and Francophone Studies at the University of Lagos. Now, Prof, you were going to conclude your comments before we went on break.
There were two important points to which I want to draw attention, and that is the factor of godliness. in it. Now, this Reverend Father, Mbaka, who predicted that Goodluck Jonathan will be defeated in 2015, predicted that Uzodimma will certainly be declared the winner. But he said he wouldn't know the manner. How? Now, many people were against him. They talked about that. But at least he said that any prayer, any prediction, any prophecy made, revealed,
That does not come to pass.
in his, yes, will always come to pass. So we need to reflect on that. Then the second factor is that how do we explain the unanimity of perception, of decision? 7-man panel, 7 of them, no,
dissension.
No dissension there. That can also be significant. And since we are still waiting for the Supreme Court to actually give a full analysis of how it arrived at its judgment, I think we should exercise patience.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, Prof, that we have not seen the end of the story with regards to the politics in Imo State. But a lot of people have also been concerned about the attitude of the newly sworn-in governor. He says he wants to probe. He says he's embarking on a project of recovery. Would that be a good strategy? And is the triumphalism of the APC with regard to Imo State a good thing, considering the fact that there are other states, where matters of the gubernatorial election on March 9, 2019 are still before the Supreme Court.
A thief cannot be running after another thief.
I wonder.
He's still innocent until proven guilty.
I understand that one. No, you see, we make ourselves happy with all these things.
Yeah, but it's the fact
that you are still
innocent until proven guilty now.
Look, even when someone is proved innocent, people still come out with the arguments of technicalities.
That's the perception. But if
No,
the
it's
person
not
is
perception.
no, if the person is
look,
innocent, he said he's innocent. That's the law.
That reminds me of 12.5% of 19 states during the election of Shehu Shagari. We have been used to all these arguments of technicalities. And at the end of the day, we do not have justice. We know somebody committed crimes, but when the matter is being adjudicated upon in the court, it's a different story entirely. So at times, the mere fact that you are pronounced innocent doesn't mean you are not guilty.
Okay, we have to move on. We'll keep a watching brief on the situation in Imo State and see how that pans out. But as I've said, I don't think that the drama in Imo State has ended yet.
It hasn't ended.
But let's go to the southwest of Nigeria. The newly launched Southwest Security Outfit, which is codenamed Amotekun, the Leopard, has been declared an illegal outfit by the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SAN. In a statement, the Attorney General of the Federation says the setting up of the paramilitary organization is illegal and runs contrary to the provisions of the Nigerian law. He also insists that the Constitution establish the Army, Navy, and the Air Force, including the police and other numerous paramilitary organizations for the purpose of the defense of Nigeria. Well, we all know that voices of reason, voices of wisdom, stakeholders from the Southwest and across the country, particularly in the South, have told the Attorney General of the Federation that he's talking nonsense, that there is nothing wrong in the people of the Southwest trying to defend themselves, considering the fact that in at least 23 states of the Federation, there are similar vigilance outfits established, including the Hisba in at least 4 states of the North, including the vigilance outfits in virtually every other state. Now, but some persons have also said, these persons coming largely from the northern part of the country, have said, look, this is an attempt to bring restructuring into the Nigerian conversation through the back door, or to ask for state police or regional police, or an attempt by people of the Southwest to make a push for the presidency of Nigeria in 2023. So religion has been thrown into it, politics has been thrown into it. But do the people of the Southwest, do they have a right to protect and defend their own people, setting up an outfit like Amotekun? Let me start with you, Professor Ariole.
Well, the issue of really defending oneself, as known by the Constitution also, each state governor is the chief security officer of any state is operating as the governor. The only point people are making about it, especially as I read from Falana, is that the state assemblies ought to domesticate such outfit and give it a name that is suitable to their own state. What I expect now, because when something is mooted and the people are buying into it gradually, so as to keep some relative peaceful atmosphere in Nigeria, is to get each state to domesticate it, have the state assemblies pass law or edicts, as they call it somehow, and say, yes, we support it. Maybe it will now turn out to be Amotekun Lagos, Amotekun Edo, Amotekun Ekiti. Why not Amotekun Delta and Edo also?
IMO State.
Seriously, I'm not worried about that. That would be very helpful. It will be a situation of telling the whole Nigerians that within the southern side of Nigeria, we have come to buy this idea, and we expect our state assemblies to domesticate the idea. It doesn't really matter who generated the idea, but is it helpful for us? That's the only way. And if the state assemblies individually pass a law that they are accepting this concept, why won't it work? If it's Zamfara own is working, Kanu own is working. Even recently, I just saw a woman being questioned by Kanu state police or whatever, Sharia police. So there is nothing wrong. I expect, especially people from the south, to agree that it's a concept that they buy into. And then each state in the southern hemisphere of Nigeria adopts it in their National Assembly and give it a name. Let it be any other name. But let it be that they have accepted that concept. I really want it so.
But Professor Akinterewa, you will agree that if every region, Western Nigeria, Eastern Nigeria, Northwest, Middle Belt, Northeast, is allowed to set up his own security outfit, doesn't that look like a prescription for chaos, you know, and a dismantling of the constitutional order?
Let me begin with the question you posed to Professor Ariole, legality of the action. And I will respond by giving you the example of when an armed robber came to our flat, came to my house. They met my wife. My wife shouted, "Ole, ole," that is robber, armed robber. And then the armed robber said, "Hey, you call me armed robber?" And by the time he was trying to shoot my wife said, "No, it's my father that is a thief, not you, no sir. Now, I give you this instance to let you know whether we can apply law in the situation of an unexpected attack. The situation in which the people of Southwest find themselves is that, look, they are victims of kidnapping, banditry on daily basis, and then we have a situation whereby the federal government is incapable of securing the people to the extent now that, look, the daughter of Fashionati, a leader, a political leader in the region, was killed. What happened to the interrogation, the investigation, and so on and so forth? This was what prompted that one. So in answering that particular question, legality, it's not a question of legality or illegality. It's a question of now self-survival. That's the directing principle. Now, as to the specific question of chaos, what is chaos? The situation is chaotic right now. And we are now finding a way to remove the chaotic factor. So I think that there's nothing like illegality. The suggestion, according to the senior advocate of Nigeria, Falana, that which Professor Ariole raised, that, look, they should have gotten this domesticated. Look, we are complicating the issue. The matter is insecurity in the land. How do you go about that? How do you go about that? If you find time to read the report of the 2014 National Conference, their recommendation talked about having regional security commissions. Is there? So Amotekun, Operation Amotekun, is very consistent with that. The second point, the Attorney General of the Federation is raising inconsistency of the establishment of the security outfit with the Constitution. Please, under normal circumstances, if the federal policemen are able to secure the totality, the territorial integrity, there wouldn't have been any need for anybody to contemplate on establishing a security outfit. It is simply because of the remissness of the political chicanery in the system that has prompted, the thinking of now saying, look, we should do this. More importantly, it is the functional responsibility of all the governors to secure lives and property. Is their responsibility. But the major problem is that they are called chief security officers of their states. But the commissioners of police in their states are directly responsible to the Inspector General of Police in Abuja.
Prof, you cannot be more correct. But at this point, let's take a quick short break. When we return, Gomez, I'll come to you for your own insights. We'll take a short break now. This is still Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show. Don't go away. Welcome back to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show, here on the Arise News channel. Still with me in the studio, I have Wale Gomez, Public Affairs Analyst, Professor Bola Akintenwa, Director General, Bolitac Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and Professor Victor Ariole, Professor of French and Francophone Studies at the University of Lagos. Now, before we went on break, we were discussing the Western Nigerian Security Network, codenamed Amotekun. Professor Ariole, you had commented on it. Professor Akintenwa, you had also made your own comments. I would like to have Wale Gomez's insights into this very controversial subject that has even been linked to the politics of 2023 presidential election in Nigeria. Gomez, over to you.
Yes. Generally, I'll just summarize on what Prof and the two profs have talked about. The fact that the reasons why the Amotekun structure is coming into place is because of three basic reasons. One, insecurity in the country. Two is incompetence of the security architecture. And the three is the issue of self-defense. Now, we're getting to a point where we have to defend ourselves now because people are just coming everywhere to every home and killing people at random. And they have come around bringing out this Amotekun thing. Now, according to the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Falana, he said that they have to try to set up a structure within the House of Assembly that will approve this Amotekun. And my own problem with the whole Amotekun thing is the fact that the governors, one of them is an SAN, should have known that there's going to be an attack on this. And they should have done everything to put in place structures that will get an easy approval by the government. They have to go back to that, no matter what the way we look at it. Each state should go and get his House Assembly to approve the Amotekun, so that we can all come out and say, hey, we're Amotekuans, and try to wear the uniform of Amotekun.
You see, Wale, that's a mis-strategy. That's the way we call it. If they ever made the mistake of, first of all, seeking to go through the legal, do something, there will never be an Operation Amotekun today.
Why? Well, Prof, maybe you are wrong. Why? The Hisba, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, and other parts of the north
past
is backed by law.
No,
that's a difference.
There's an enabling law for the Hisba.
No.
Thank you.
Are you comparing Hisba with Amotekun?
It's about the same.
That's what is in the public domain.
Yeah,
No,
that's not
the comparison.
This Amotekun outfit, if you look at the structure, the design, the way it is just like the Franco-Prussian War of 1871, Bismarck strategy, which means that you first of all come with a attack defensive.
A militia. That's a militia. That's an underground army.
No.
But some Nigerians are saying you cannot have an underground army.
You cannot.
It must be legally validated.
No Chief Justice of Federation should allow you to do that.
When you are coming with an outfit like this, when you know quite well that there is politics of it as well, you must first of all undermine the politics, defeat the politics of it, and then allow people. When you go for diplomatic negotiations, etc., all along, who does not know that Article 2, Paragraph 7 of the UN Charter prevents intervention in the domestic affairs of other countries? They know. But powerful countries will intervene and then allow discussions at table. Then you will not be discussing. Didn't Donald Trump authorize the killing of the Iranian leader?
So you want Amotekun to start attacking before they will now go on the table?
Amotekun proponents are defending themselves. They know quite well that they have been asking for protection, self-protection. They've been asking for federal government protection. But the protection is not coming.
But the argument is that the military and the police are protecting the integral territorial integrity of Nigeria, and the Amotekuns are an arm of it that they're scared of.
It's not a question of territorial integrity. It doesn't have anything to do. Amotekun is not talking about the Nigerianization.
No. Prof,
of course
what you seem to be suggesting is that impunity is acceptable in certain circumstances.
When the government
and that's not a good argument for Amotekun.
No, hold on.
They can't use that.
What do you call impunity? The issue now is that you say that, for instance, if any Amotekun, to borrow your word,
I'm an Amotekun.
No, but you are not properly dressed. We've seen the uniform of the Amotekun.
Do you want me to take it out?
Do you want to take
Amotekun
dress properly?
Yes, I will next. I will put on the armor of the Amotekuns.
An Amotekun
not on this program.
Not on this program.
Not on this program.
An Amotekun carries
because we are not aligned.
A47 rifle. Then the armed robbers, those people who are embarrassing the people, they carry the same AK-47 rifle, but you are not talking about illegality. Where do they get that from? It's a very critical matter.
That still doesn't mean that you go against the law.
Those carriers,
two wrongs can't make the right.
Please. This type of logic does not address the problem of insecurity.
Yes, it will. If we legalize them.
Don't try to use legality to address illegality. Prof, in this particular case.
I don't think I will agree with you on this.
No, you don't have to agree with me.
No, I don't
the problem in this country is that, look, we condone insecurity. We aid and abet people who are killing innocent people. So when you now want to address on a permanent basis that type of illegality.
The lawyers are saying if you want to come to equity, come with clean hands.
Anyway,
that's normal circumstance.
So you're saying we have abnormal circumstances.
Yes, I know that, Prof, you and Wale Gomez, you are stakeholders in this matter.
Yes, we are.
But please don't come onto this program with Amotekun uniform.
As suggested by you.
As proposed by you.
I've just told you that armed robbers came to my place when I was on Montgomery Road.
Yes.
What the police people told me, they said, go to Alaba and see if you are able to locate your materials, electronics, then come and report back to them.
In Alaba?
Yes, that's what they are.
Okay, we've got to move on.
This situation is not acceptable.
Even Prof's outfit is now.
We'll keep discussing this. Professor Ariola, I could see you were just looking at the two of them. I hope the problem of insecurity doesn't concern you.
No, it concerns me. How I wish the South in totality will adopt a situation that will make the North to start also reasoning and saying, look, there is a need for this kind of sectional outfit. That's what I feel.
Okay, let's move on. The West African Monetary Zone Convergence Council has expressed concern over the recent decision of the Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara and 7 other presidents of West African countries to unilaterally rename the CFA franc as ECO this year, rising from a meeting of ministers of finance and governors of the central banks of the West African Monetary Zone on the ECOWAS single currency program. The council also recommended that an extraordinary summit of the authority of heads of state and governments of the WAM's member states be convened soon to discuss the matter and other related issues. Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, who read the Council's communique issued at the end of his deliberations in Abuja, described the action of President Alassane Ouattara, who is chairman of the Authority of Heads of State and Governments of West African Economic and Monetary Union, as not in line with the decision of the Authority of Heads of State and Governments of ECOWAS for the adoption of the ECO as the name of an independent ECOWAS single currency. Well, Gomez, I would like you to start with this. You know, Nigeria had originally expressed reservation when on December 21, 2019, 8 West African countries, 7 of them Francophone plus Guinea-Bissau, decided that the single currency for West Africa should be called the ECO, which is just more or less the change of the name of the CFA, you know, which will rely on the French franc, and the president of France was said to have been behind this, and there were allegations about new imperialism, neo-colonialism, and now the Anglophone countries, 6 of them, meeting in Abuja, have now said, no, that cannot stand. The appropriate thing is for West African countries to take a collective decision.
Yeah, generally when you're speaking about adoption of a currency, it depends on the value of the currency that you're even looking at. The Francophone countries, they always want to law things about the Anglophone countries, and they feel that because they have the support, which is very, very unique. They have the support of the French government in most of the decisions. So they think that they have more power than the Anglophone countries. But be that as it may, the president cannot single-handedly decide that he wants to change the name and then the others will just follow him hook, line, and stinkers. They have to come together on a table and decide which way they want to go and when they want to start it. There's got to be a date and a time and a value of the unit of the ECO for it to make meaning and making sense. So I support the government of Nigeria for not being part of this until they all come to the table and decide what value and what name they want to and when they want to start using it. Period.
Professor Akinzenwa.
The decision is most unfortunate. The Francophones appear to have forgotten the rationale behind the inclusion, the insertion of Articles 131 to 136 in the Rome Treaty of March 25, 1957, establishing the European Economic Community. The French government argued by that time that to be able to protect the Francophone communities, all right, that they should be specially recognized as, associate, members. On that particular basis, the idea of CFA was now considered and given, an equivalent value to the European currency. That's the genesis. So the CFA, on that basis, is now a money in the French reservoir, all right, central bank. Now, the ECOWAS, which had been in competition with the former CEO, Communauté économique de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, which was the Francophone organization, all right,
ECOWAS, monetary and economic union.
Yes, so only for the Francophones. ECOWAS now includes the Francophones and
the
Lusophons.
Prof, we need to take a short break. When we come back, you conclude your thoughts along this line. We'll be right back. This is still Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show. Don't go away. Welcome back to Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show. Here on the Arise News channel, I still have with me in the studio Wale Gomez, Public Affairs Analyst, Professor Bola Akintenwa, Director General of the Bolitag Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies, and Professor Victor Ariole, Professor of French and Francophone Studies at the University of Lagos. Professor Akintenwa, that is. Before we went on break, you were commenting on the West African Monetary Zone Convergence Council and its objection to the unilateral decision taken by Côte d'Ivoire, led by President Alassane Ouattara, and 7 other countries on the determination of a single currency for West Africa.
I was trying to make the point that better days are far-fetched, especially for regional integration, with the issue of the ECO and the attitudinal disposition of Alassane Ouattara.
Alassane Ouattara or the Francophone countries?
No, because he is the chairman
Of
and he's the one
ECOWAS.
who made the pronouncement. You see, ECO, that particular name, is supposed to be the name of the single currency to be adopted by the ECOWAS. All right? Not the CFA.
CFA.
Yes, not the CFA, CFA. You want to pronounce it the French way, CFA. Now, why did you take a name already earmarked for purposes of the ECOWAS? I am now trying to say that in the manner in which we had the CEAO and the ECOWAS, even though the CEO had given way to ECOWAS, in the same manner the Francophone countries had a unity of purpose, promoting, sponsoring the membership of Morocco, which is geopolitically located in northern Africa.
The Maghreb.
To come and join the ECOWAS meant, as defined by Article 1D and E of the 1991 Abuja Treaty on treaty establishing the African Community. So Morocco is not qualified, but they are sponsoring it. The matter is still kept in the cooler. These same Francophone countries now unanimously agreed to renaming their CFA ECO. For what purpose? So this means that when we are talking about regional integration, and when our own president, President Muhammadu Buhari, would simply just talk about giving visa at the point of entry, these are the deep-seated questions that we are telling the policymakers to please open their eyes widely and see. Is an evidence of that. They are now trying to frustrate ECOWAS in the foreseeable future.
Well, Professor Arole, quickly, so that we can take just one more topic before we wrap it up today.
I think it's a problem of Nigeria not being proactive. Because Nigeria has spent a lot of money trying to realize this ECO. But they just refuse to be disciplined, which the Francophone countries have done proactively. Because they still have their central bank as BCAO, and they have been able to converge on their own on single-digit inflation, which is available to them, on 14% of their GDP to debt, which they have also realized. So what is wrong with Nigeria in coming to that convergence term and getting all Africans, I'm not even talking of West Africa now, getting all the Africans to agree on one monetary unit for Africa. After all, people are complaining about pegging it to euro. Whether we like it or not, even as of today, Nigeria's own reserve is pegged on dollar. If we don't have up to 90 days dollar value for our own import, and we will not be allowed to trade.
Okay,
so
on
what
that
is
note,
wrong?
let's
We
take
should
one
be
more
disciplined.
story.
That's all.
Okay, the professors should let us take just one more story. The United States Senate opened an impeachment trial on Donald Trump, the president, who has been charged with the abuse of the power of his office and the obstruction of Congress. The president has been hit with new allegations of wrongdoing by an agency also within his own administration. The Government Accountability Office released a finding on Thursday morning that last year's suspension of military aid to Ukraine at Trump's direction violated laws governing the disbursement of congressionally appropriated funds. The White House did not immediately respond to the allegation of criminality. The opening of the Senate trial on Thursday brought the impeachment inquiry closer to its climax, nearly 4 months after Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, announced the probe into Trump's alleged scheme to pressure Ukraine to investigate Trump's political rival for former Vice President Joe Biden. Trump, the third president in U.S. history to have been impeached, now faces a trial due to begin on Tuesday. The proceedings could result in the president's removal from office, but that is seen as most unlikely. Well, Wale Gomez, you just came back from your other country, the United States. What's the mood in the United States, and do you think that we can look forward to the possibility of President Trump being impeached?
Or
removed, rather. He's been impeached already.
Before the presentation of the article of impeachment, I was kind of not scared of him being removed. I thought maybe the House, the Senate, will not have enough to remove him. But on Thursday, some few things came out, and most of the American senators are very, very stout believer in the Constitution and in the oath of office they've taken. And I know for a fact that 5 of them have really opened up to say that they have an open mind into all this.
Yeah, but those 5, the Democrats need only 4 to agree on the procedure for removal.
Yes, they only need 4.
But that may not affect the eventual decision on the removal. It's just the procedure.
The problem I'm having with that is the mood of the people in America is that they want him impeached. That's the mood.
No, he's been impeached.
I mean, they want him removed. And that's the general mood of everybody. And then there's also a campaign right now on the streets of America about removal of Donald Trump. My problem with Donald Trump is that he seems to be too confident of this. And if you really know America, I'm not sitting down at home and saying, oh, it won't go. I just don't feel comfortable of him staying, period.
Yeah, but in terms of the numbers for the trial, we already have the presiding officer in place in the person of the Chief Justice, John Roberts, the CJN. But the Democrats will need up to 20 persons to cross from the Republican side for them to be able to effect the removal. Can that happen, Professor Ariola?
What I'm learning recently is that within the trial process, 51% of people sitting for the trial can ask for his impeachment. I don't know whether I'm right. Impeachment within the Senate trial process.
No, within the Senate you will need 2/3, which is 67.
That's to remove him from office, 2/3.
Yeah, you need 2/3.
Yeah, but the trial process,
which is 67%.
The trial process, I was meant to know that it's the first time that the trial process is going on in Senate. And 51,
no, it's not the first time. This is the 3rd time.
Well,
you had Andrew Johnson, you had Bill Clinton, now you have Trump. They were not removed.
Yes, they were impeached from the congregational process. And so what I'm saying is that, as we know, it's already partisan biased, which means the Republicans won't just close their arms and say, look, remove Trump. It's going to happen in a way that, you see, there will be for him to remain. But that impeachment or that the trial will not go its right course and either accept his being impeached by the Congress to be right or wrong, that is not the issue. But to be removed in office, I doubt it, as you said.
Well, it has not happened before. If it happens, it will be the first American president to be removed. But Prof, do you think whether he's removed or not, that this will affect his political fortunes, considering that this is election year? We have just about 30 seconds to go.
Wale Gomez cannot be more correct on this point by talking about the attitudinal disposition of the Americans. Removal is at 3 levels. Removal at the level of the Senate, removal by the people, and removal from the minds of the generality of the American people. At the Senate, Republicans have the majority. They are partisan, and Professor Ariole rightly pointed to that. So it's not likely that the Republicans will want to adopt a self-defeatist decision. At the level of the people, majority of the Americans now, with the situational reality on the ground, they really do not want him.
They don't want him again.
So already, now removing Donald Trump from their minds, I think he's already removed.
Well, but we'll see what happens eventually when the drama begins on Tuesday. January 21, and whether Donald Trump will survive or not. You've been watching Thisdaylive, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati. From our entire team here in Lagos, it's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching. See you next week.